Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today I'll be playing the final Premier Draft of the Brothers War before we do a Kamigawa Neon Dynasty draft tomorrow, and then the Phyrexia All Will Be One Early Access event happens very soon, so new set just on the horizon. Let's get one last peek at the old, not really that old, I mean the set came out in like November or something, but yeah, we're in a transitional period here, about to hit the new format. Without further ado, let's just look through our pack one, see what we want to take. I'm not in love with the Temporal Anchor. It can take over a very long game. Keyword long. It is a six mana card that doesn't affect the board in any way, so you do have to already be in a pretty decent position to not just be dying the turn you tap out for a 6 mana card, but if you are there, you can draw a lot of cards off of it. Some really good commons between Boulder Branch and Combat Courier here. I think I might just go Boulder Branch. Combat Courier is a little more open, but Boulder Branch is a huge way to stabilize in any green deck. So pack 1, pick 2, we now have Scrapwork Cohort, which is nice and open. There's Yoshin Tactician if we want to dip into blue-white soldiers. And there's Argothian Opportunist, which can help us cast our Boulder Branch a little cheaper with that Powerstone. I think those are the best cards in the pack. Opportunist, Cohort, Tactician. I kind of wasted a lot of time, pack 1, pick 1, just discussing the upcoming things. I think if I had a little more time on pack 1, pick 1, I might have went for the Courier over Golem, and then we'd be in a really good spot to pick up Cohort. I think I'm still supposed to just take the Cohort, though. Again, a very solid deal in any deck. There's tons of mana fixing in the format in the Retro Artifact slot, so it is not that hard to just splash in the Unearth ability, because it only requires 1 white mana. And if white is one of the core colors of your deck, then it's going to be really easy to get a lot of good value off the card. So I'm just going to take the Scrapwork Cohort here. Pack 1, pick 3 now. We've got a Powerstone Fracture for a pretty great removal spell at common that happens to work very well with the Scrapwork Cohort. Outside of that, nothing super good at common. Juggernaut's fine, Rock Hunter's fine, and aggro. Shoot Down is playable in the format. And for uncommons, we have Alloy Animist, which can be fun with a lot of Power Stones and non-creature artifacts to animate, but it does require a little bit of building around. And I guess Sculpting Steel is kind of interesting, but it doesn't seem super duper powerful here. I'm just going to go for the very solid removal spell, take the Power Stone Fracture with the Scrapwork Cohort that we have to work alongside it. Pick 4, Boulder Branch Golem is the best card in this pack. I guess we'll probably just scoop that up. There's also a Gnawing Vermin, which would be fine for like black-white Unearth. We go for a black-white deck. This is a great card to sacrifice to stuff like our Powerstone Fracture that we've picked up, and with that mill ability we can target ourselves to try to self-mill into good Unearth cards like Scrapwork Cohort. So if I want to just jump into black-white, I could take Vermin, but Boulder Branch Golem is just a very good card. Scoop that up there. Nothing much here. We have our Gothian Sprites. If I want to commit to green, Gix's Caress towards black, or we take another off-color card and take the Scrapwork Mutt now. Very similar to Scrapwork Cohort in that it's a decent value, just at face value at the 2 mana. Don't really need to be able to unearth it for it to be good, and if you can unearth it, it becomes great. I think we're just going to take the Mutt here. Definitely looking for Energy Refractor type cards that would be able to mana fix us throughout several turns. That would make our Unearth cards even more valuable. That'd be very nice. I've got a Scrapwork Rager here for another just good value Unearther. Epic Confrontation for removal in green to go with the double Boulder Branch. If we head in that direction, kind of coin flippy between these two. I think those are the best cards for us. I'm going to take Scrapwork Rager here. Just have one of every single Scrapwork card. That could be a pretty fun way to start off. Pack 1, pick 7 now. We have a Goring Warplow for a flexible black card. That would be fine. There's not a whole lot else here. We're starting to get to the pretty filler stuff. Burnished Heart could be a decent way to pull out a bunch of splashed in lands, but Primarily when I'm splashing in Unearth cards, I don't really like to have any basic lands of their colors. I like to entirely splash them in off of Energy Refractor type spells, Sentinel Stalwarts, stuff like that. That being said, there's not really any other great card in here. There's Blast Runner if we want to move towards a red aggro deck. I guess we are really open right now. We do have Fracture, Mutt, and Rager towards maybe red-black sack. And yeah, Burnished Heart can get to the Boulder Branches early, but again, I'm not going to want to splash in like an Island and a Plains for like random Unearth cards. That was a decently late Blast Runner. Now we've got another one, pick 9, so maybe red-black Sacrifice would be the way to go in this draft pod. We'll scoop up another Goblin Blast Runner to be open and going that direction. Now we have Gix's Caress, which plays very well. Rips out your opponent's Scary Bomb card from their hand and gives you a Power Stone if you're lucky. If you're unlucky, you top deck this late game when your opponent doesn't have anything in hand, and then it's pretty bad, but if you can get this down while they still have a hand, it's pretty great. And Infantry's just fine, so we'll take Caress here. Now a Rock Hunter versus Killzone Acrobats versus Infantry. These are all fine. You have one Mutt already at 2 mana, no creatures at 3. I guess I'll go Infantry here, or Acrobat. These are all really comparable, all pretty filler. Go I'll actually go Rock Hunter. I find that the 3-drop slot in Rakdos Sacrifice usually ends up getting filled with more premium cards that would end up getting the Infantry cut. Cards like Penrigan Strongbull, which is a sacrifice outlet, and Junkyard Genius, which is a sacrifice outlet. So if we start picking those up, then we're gonna need the room at 3 mana to play all those. We'll just need more like 2-drops here. These last few picks I'm just rare drafting because I'm not gonna play anything out of those packs. And well, this is a little bit awkward, a little bit sad, because as much as I'd love to take Junkyard Genius and be really happy about going into Rakdos Sacrifice here, probably have to just take the very powerful Mythic Rare Aura. Draconic Destiny is 3 mana to give something +1/+1 flying and haste and fire breathing. So we can just dump 1 mana into it to give it +1/+0. We can do that as many times as we want. And when the creature dies, we just get to put the Destiny back in our hand. This seems like a very, very effective way to end a game super quickly. And we almost definitely have to take it over Junkyard Genius, which we will almost certainly not wheel. On the plus side, now we can just delve very heavily into red and still have our second color a little bit out in the open. That being said, red-black is by far the best place to use our 2 copies of Goblin Blast Runner, so we'd still prefer to end up there. Disfigure is solid cheap removal, or we could take Third Path Iconoclast. This would be our first blue card, which is pretty awkward. Every other card in our deck, technically none of these are completely colorless. We have a card that kind of wants green, kind of wants black, another one that wants black, wants white. We have 0 cards that want blue right now, but Iconoclast is a powerful enough card to potentially push us in that direction. We have a really, really solid backup plan, though. I mean, Disfigure is just great. Pretty good. Not quite as good as Iconoclast, but leaves us to the colors we'd like to be with the double Blast Runner, the Powerstone Fracture. I think I'm just going to take Disfigure here. We just have 0 blue cards right now, and we do pick up a pack 2, pick 3 Junkyard Genius, which feels great. We will absolutely slam dunk this card. A little sad we're passing up on an Energy Refractor, but it is what it is. Junkyard Genius is just the perfect card for Rakdos Sacrifice in this format. There's a third copy of Goblin Blast Runner, but we already have 2, and we could wheel this, so if there's anything else pretty solid in this pack, we could take it. Try to splash in a Static Net as removal, or we could take Gixian Infiltrator. Those are really the only other 2 playables. Neither of those are massively exciting, so I think I'll just take the third Blast Runner. Just don't have any mana fixing yet. Very happy to see a pack 2 pick 5 Horned Stoneseeker. This card's exceptional for this archetype. The deck is very aggressive, so having a 2 mana 2/2 Menace is really nice, and the Power Stone it provides is very easy sacrificial fodder that in the early game just lets us play like a Scrapwork Rager or Scrapwork Cohort a turn early. So Horned Stoneseeker is a ridiculous card for us. Very happy to take it. Could get a 4th Blast Runner, a 1st Swift Spear, or a Bitter Reunion. I think with 3 Blast Runners already in the deck, we kind of need to grab some more flexible cards that give us sacrifice effects to trigger them a lot more often, and Bitter Reunion definitely fits that bill. Lets us put a card draw effect in our deck that also counts as a way to sacrifice and trigger our Blast Runners, so like Bitter Reunion a lot here. There's also Juggernaut, which is quite nice. It's a very good finisher for these kind of decks. A 5/3 with Trample that can Unearth once is kind of guaranteed to get some amount of damage in. Try to finish your opponent off, but we'll take the Bitter Reunion here. Now we can take a Sibling Rivalry, and this draft pot is wild. We could have had like 12 Boulder Branch Golems, but we're not doing so bad at all in Red-Black Sacrifice. We're getting plenty of tools for this deck as well. Now we take the nice cheap combat trick, very efficient. We wield the Junkyard Genius. Well, Rakdos Sacrifice certainly open. Wield the Junkyard Genius and a Sibling Rivalry and an Infiltrator. We're in a very good position here despite seeing a million Boulder Branch Golems that we won't be playing. Now we have an Unleashed Shell for a little bit more removal. That's a removal spell that also shoots our opponent for 2 when we cast it, which is nice. 14 creatures, 8 non-creatures. 2 of them are Boulder Branches, though, which are really unlikely to get played here in this Rakdos deck. Definitely not going to play Onslaught, so I'm just going to grab a Thran Vigil for Vault Progress, just taking the highest rarity card. Happy to play a Juggernaut at the top end of the curve. Acrobat's fine at 3 mana, but again, looking for Pendragon Strongbow still at 3. And I think the top end slots are a little bit more empty in general for the Rakdos decks. Pick 14 Blast Runner. Join us. Join us. Somebody's getting a pick 15 rare, by the way, which is hilarious. That rare, you have to give your opponent one of your cards to draw some cards, which is pretty much never worth it. In Limited, there's some fun synergies and combos you can pull off with it in constructed formats where you give them something bad, but it's not really a thing in Limited. Alright, pack 3, pick 1. I still have a good amount of creatures here, 14, even after cutting those 2 Boulder Branch Golems. I think we have to just take the exceptional removal spell of Overwhelming Remorse here. A black and 4 for an instant to exile a creature or planeswalker, and it's cheaper for each creature in our graveyard. Just a really, really, really good removal spell. The thing I'm a little sad about this is we're passing up on a giant Cindermaw, which is a 3-mana 4/3 trample. I mean, we have Disfigure, Powerstone Fracture, Gix's Crest, kinda, sorta, and then Unleash Shell. Pretty sure we have to take Remorse, but I'm gonna take Cindermaw anyway. You know what? This thing is just so huge, it's so ridiculous. The size of the body you get for the mana cost, it can close out some really quick games where your opponent doesn't really have a way to stabilize because all of their life gain cards are shut off. And when we're the like quadruple Blast Runner curve, so like just 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, if we can get some really powerful, really beefy creatures, we can steal so many free games off of doing that, that I'm going to take Cindermaw here. And now, Overwhelming Remorse, pick 2, but there's also Mishra's Research Desk, which is incredible card draw that also triggers our Goblin Blast Runners, so this again works exceptionally towards our game plan of just cheesing out an incredibly quick victory with the Blast Runners, so doing stuff I don't love doing, which is passing removal spells, but sometimes it happens. And hey, 3rd Junkyard Genius. Join the party. There's no Overwhelming Remorse in this pack to compete with that, so get on in here. Now we have Ashnod's Harvester, another exceptional aggressive 2-drop, a 2-mana 3/1 with a 2-mana Unearth ability. This can also shut off your opponent's Unearth cards by exiling stuff from their grave. Easily the pick there, incredible aggressive card. Now we have another Sibling Rivalry. Close out the game. Moment of Defiance, also fine. Alright, now we got nothing. I'm just going to rare draft a Quicksilver Amulet. I'm not going to play a Carrion Locust. It's fine. Scrapsmith is not really, though. Yeah, we could have had a 1,000 Boulder Branches. Probably take Killzone Acrobat, but I don't know, with 3 Junkyard Geniuses, it might be a little interesting to have No One Left Behind for just 2 mana, put a Junkyard Genius from our grave back on the board. Or a Cindermaw. Yeah, I've got 4 3-mana creatures. I'll take a No One Left Behind here. I'm probably not playing it, but it's moderately exciting. Alright, well, this is a little weird and a little sad for us. We're in a draft pod where we can scoop up triple Junkyard Genius pretty easily without much competition, also sibling rivalries everywhere, but we didn't see a single Pendragon Strongbow. That's a little awkward for our deck. A little sad, a little awkward. Do some more rare drafting here. Just a bunch of rare drafting. There are a bunch of cards that like theoretically work well with Sacrifice that I am passing along, but our deck's way too aggressive to use them because they're all incredibly slow, like the Clay Revenant and the Ashnod's Altar thing. The Altar of the whatever. That makes zombies very slowly. Alright, well, overall, this deck looks pretty sick, and I'm pretty happy with the draft. The one thing that I think is a little unfortunate that I'm not a big fan of is the fact that we see all these Junkyard Geniuses, we end up in this archetype that feels pretty open, we've got good removal, great card draw, great creatures, but we see 0 Pendragon Strongbowls in the entire draft. That is unfortunate, because that is a card that can easily help these Goblin Blast runners trigger a lot more frequently. So that is probably the one thing we're really missing out on here. And we're a tiny bit low on removal. Like, we definitely could have used those Overwhelming Remorses. But I think the Cindermaw and the Research Desk are also just premium additions to this deck. So I'm not too unhappy about that one, about not wheeling those Overwhelming Remorses. Alright. Be aggressive here. No way to splash in the Unearth off Cohort, but it could still be decent in here, just making a wide board state, giving us a 1/1 to sacrifice. How many creatures are in here? 18? Don't want to cut too many. Warplow is the slowest one. Still have 17 creatures for a nice, very aggressive deck here. Seems fine by me. 6 non-creature cards get cut here. Moment to Defiance is the most expensive combat trick, so it's the hardest to justify casting while I'm trying to be aggressive, trying to keep putting more creatures on the board. Do you like the double sibling rivalry? We have 3 Junkyard Geniuses, so if we get this late in the game, we have 3 different ways to sacrifice our opponent's creature that we steal from them. That's not even counting the Powerstone Fracture, so technically 4, I guess, ways to sacrifice opposing creatures. No One Left Behind. Again, it's fun with premium 3-mana creatures like Giant Cindermaw and Triple Junkyard Genius. It might be more cute than anything. I don't know if we super have room for it. Because the other thing is, like, it is very good at bringing back Junkyard Geniuses, but if we have 3 anyway, then like, if one dies, then our game plan is probably just to try to dig for the other one with our card draw. Or just wait for the other one out of the 3. We have backups. Gix's Caress plays really well in this format. Like, it's got an incredibly high win rate, but I mean, we can use the Powerstone well. I just don't love the not impacting the board on turn 3 here in this deck. Like, I just want to curve out and just slam face majorly. Still got to cut 3 more cards. I'm going to cut 1 land. I don't want to cut more than that because I do still want to have the mana to use Rivalry plus Genius's ability later. I do have some random Power Stones, though, to help do that. Not a ton of them, but at least 3 because the Triple Junkyard Genius. I guess that's it, really. 3 Junkyard Genius are my only Power Stone production. Yeah, I've got a Horned Stoneseeker as well, I guess, so 4 things that make a Power Stone. But anytime that I want to use Sibling Rivalry plus Junkyard Genius, I'm guaranteed to have the Power Stone from the Junkyard Genius, because obviously I will have played a Junkyard Genius if I want to use a Junkyard Genius. So then I play Junkyard Genius, that makes it so the Sibling Rivalry plus Junkyard Genius combo only requires 6 mana total. Still kind of a lot of mana. Still a potential, 2 6-mana plays in the deck, which does justify going for the 17 lands here. Not really cutting one. But cutting one doesn't lower our land count or our odds of drawing a land super highly. Just one single land. Yeah, I think we have a few ways to mitigate Mana Screw as well. We have Bitter Reunion, discard just some big Unearther to draw a couple cards if we're lucky. Mishra's Research Desk are 2 other ways that we can draw cards in the early game, digging for those lands. We have Scrapwork Mutt as well, discard a non-land, try to draw a land. Scrapwork Rager, I guess that's 4 mana, so that doesn't really help, but Bitter Reunion, Research Desk, Mutt can all dig for that land. I think 16 lands is probably fine here. We still need 2 more cuts. Maybe cut one of the Blast Runners? I mean, how many sacrifice effects do I have to work with them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6? Still solid. Not incredible. 17 creatures. Just need like 15 to 17 in aggro. I think I'm going to drop 1 Blast Runner here. I may do actually drop the cohort. Focus on just flavorfully sacrificing Power Stones to Power Stone Fractures. Or sacrificing Unearth cards to Power Stone Fracture also works really, really well. This card is very good with 2 mana Unearth cards like Scrapwork Mutt and Harvester. Solid even with the Rager. It's okay with the Research Desk. We would have to sack a card draw to use that with it, but yeah, I think we have other ways to use that. I don't need the non-unearthable Scrapwork cohort. So I think that's how we want the deck to be. Definitely look much heavier into red than black, so I think 9-7 is probably where we want to be. Yeah, 16 red cards, 5 black. I still want to hit my black sources pretty consistently relatively early, so I don't want to cut really low on black sources, because we do want to turn 3 Junkyard Genius every time, so I think 9-7 is about where we want the split to be. I don't want like 10-6 and have almost twice as many red sources as black. But like having 2 more red sources than black sources, that seems pretty solid to me. And yeah, I think that's going to be the deck. Alright, here's a look at the final deck list. We will be playing today the final deck list of the Brothers War drafts until they do some more flashback drafts. This is a Rakdos Sacrifice build. Pretty classic stuff here, exactly what you want for the aggressive red-black Sacrifice deck in this format. 3 copies of Goblin Blast Runner, getting +2/+0 and Menace if we've sacrificed a permanent this turn, and 3 copies of Junkyard Genius, being the big finisher that lets us sacrifice creatures or artifacts to give the whole board Menace and Haste. So those are kind of the 2 key creatures. Everything else is just very good aggressive bodies to use alongside those abilities. Some creatures that produce Power Stones to give us more sack fodder. Some creatures that unearth to be able to unearth and then get sacrificed. And some creatures that are just really big for their mana costs like Cindermaw to stay nice and aggressive. So with those cards together, we're trying to just make a wide board state, give the whole board Menace, hit for 1,000,000 damage between Geniuses and Blast Runners effects. We've got some solid removal for clearing the board, Disfigure, Power Stone Fracture, and Unleash Shell. We also have a couple Sibling Rivalries that can let us hit our opponent with their biggest creature and try to finish the game that way. And if we get these when we have 6 mana and a Power Stone on board, we can steal their creature and sacrifice it to our Junkyard Genius's effect. And of course, it's not that hard to do. We just have to have 6 lands on board to do it, because if we have a Junkyard Genius on board and we have a Sibling Rivalry in hand, then we could just make sure that we don't sack that Powerstone for a little bit, wait till we hit the 6th land, and we know that we'll have the mana to do this when we have 6 mana. Again, 4 mana to steal, 2 mana to sack if we use a Powerstone towards the second ability, so Sibling Rivalry doubles as a finisher and a big late game removal spell. We've also got Draconic Destiny as our biggest bomb in the deck. This turns any one of our creatures into a flying must-be-killed threat, and even if they kill it, we get Draconic Destiny back into our hand to play on our next creature. So this is going to be a pretty busted card, pretty bonkers stuff here, making our creatures +1/+1 flying, haste, dumping a bunch of extra mana to do a bunch of extra damage, and again, whenever they're dealt with, we just get to put this on the next creature, unless our opponent specifically destroys the Draconic Destiny itself. We've got some decent early game card draw, so we are running 16 lands here. We've got a little bit of a low curve and some decent early game card draw to justify the 16 lands. We have Bitter Reunion, Mishra's Research Desk, and Scrapwork Mutt to help out there. As for sacrifice effects to trigger Blast Runner, we have Research Desk, Bitter Reunion, Triple, Junkyard Genius, and Powerstone Fracture. So that's the deck there. That's pretty much everything in it. Yeah, just curve out really aggressively, buff the board with Junkyard Genius, and kill some people very, very quickly. That is the game plan. See how it works out for us as we head into the gameplay. Here we are on the play for game 1. Nice aggressive hand here. No black source, but I think we still keep it. The only thing we can't do is the Disfigure. Without a swamp, that is. I guess if I don't hit any land, I can't play the Automaton. See what our opponent is up to here. 8 cards in hand on their turn 1, so no mulligans from them. Forest it is. And a Bushwhack to go ahead and search their library for any basic land, reveal it, put it into their hand, and grab a Swamp. We did top deck the Swamp here, so I can pretty happily just play an Ashnod's Harvester, ready and willing to trade that off into anything they put on the board because we can unearth it for some more damage later. Feldon, Ronom Excavator from our opponent. I think I'd rather disfigure the Feldon, because if I actually trade into this, they get to exile the top 3 cards of their library, and until the end of their next turn, they get to play one of them. So they can just draw land if I trade off, so they actually go up in value that way. But Disfigure is still a 1-for-1, and I can afford to Disfigure and play Rock Hunter here, so that's what I'll do. Get a 1-for-1 trade into Feldon instead of a 2-for-1. And now we can just exile Feldon from the grave, just in case. They do have a black source, they have a swamp in their hand, so they could have Emergency Weld style cards to return things from the graveyard to hand. Arbalest Engineers is not good for us. That is going to be able to shoot one of our creatures and block the other. Luckily, we do have a Whirling Strike here. I could play Draconic Destiny instead, but I think I want to get the Whirling Strike out of the way. And since I want to do that anyway, we probably just unearth the Harvester while I have the mana to do it here. Stay mana efficient. There'd be an argument for waiting on the Harvester Unearth because I have good sacrifice effects in this deck. But I think with a hand like this, especially with Draconic Destiny, that kind of wants me to just dump all of my mana into it whatever turn I do it. It'll be a little bit difficult to find a point where I have that extra mana to just dump into that later. Now they're at 11 life. Do I just immediately get in the sky here? If I don't, Rock Hunter just trades into the Honor Guard, or Automaton does. If I get into the sky, I hit them for 5, and then I kill them next turn if they don't have removal. 1 opportunity to have removal. If I go Automaton here, I hit them for 3, they're down to 8. Play the Destiny next turn. Make whatever creature I have left flying and give it +1/+0 minimum. Hit for like 5. Yeah, I only threaten lethal in 2 attacks if I just Destiny up this and just hope they don't have removal. It's a bit risky, but I think we go for it, because even if they have removal, we do get the Draconic Destiny back in our hand, but then they can try to outrace us, because they are hitting us for 6 a turn. So if they have the removal spell, they could very well win this game. Just erasing. But we don't, like, get 2 for 1 here. Yep, 1 for 1. Fine by me. Destiny goes back to... Oh, no, Exile doesn't work with it? When enchanted creature dies. Oh, well, it's a little rough. They are still likely to die here, though, because I can automaton them down to 3 life. And then I have a sibling rivalry for surprise lethal, where I can get rid of one of their blockers and add another attacker to my board. Sibling rivalry makes it really hard for them to hold up enough to survive here, especially because one of their creatures can't block. So Epic Confrontation to kill Automaton. If they... Oh, that's just a straight up fight? Okay. If they don't play another creature here, I can just Rivalry the Transmigrant and kill them. Actually, pretty happy the Honor Guard's dead here, because that was going to be a difficult creature to Sibling Rivalry, because it has that ward too. Alright, now they're just tapped out. Nice and simple. Sibling Rivalry for 3 damage, and that'll end the game. Game 2 now. We've got a couple Blast Runners at the ready. Do really need that Black Source for Junkyard Genius, as well as more mana for Rager, so it's a bit of a risky keep here. We definitely need to hit lands, because if we don't, we're playing 2 1/2s and then sitting here doing nothing for a while. We are on the draw. On the draw, this is a consideration. On the play, I think I would just mulligan this. But on the draw, we get an extra opportunity to hit lands. And if we don't hit lands, a lot of our cards in our deck are 2 mana or less. Like Mishra's Research Desk, Bitter Reunion, Scrapwork Mutts. We've got some really good draws that could help us out. Yeah, so it's not just lands that are great draws for us. I think I will keep this on the draw. Opponent's going to start things with Evolving Wilds. Grabbing whatever basic land they need, picking up a forest. And we do immediately hit a mountain. So we're only 1 land away from Scrapwork Rager and Sibling Rivalry. And then everything but Junkyard Genius would be castable. That's pretty good. Draw an Automaton, so we do have another play here. Alright, pretty scared of what our opponent can do here. They're on the play with a turn 2 Stone Seekers. They're already ahead on mana by being on the play, plus they have a Power Stone from that Stone Seeker, so we could be pretty quickly on the back foot here. Yeah, Strongbow to go with their Power Stone. That is pretty strong. Alright, we do hit the swamp at least, so we can just turn 3 Junkyard Genius here over the Automaton, save that for a potential 6/4 later. And set up a potential Sibling Rivalry for a removal spell. Unfortunately, our creatures are much smaller than theirs, so we don't really have good blocks or attacks for a while. I mean, double blocking Stone Seeker with double Blast Runner is decent. Okay, they do Obliterating Bolt the Junkyard Genius, so we no longer have a good Sibling Rivalry play later. We have 0 good blocks for Penregan Strongbow, so we'll take that down to 18. Now they play a Blanchwood Prowler, milling 3, picking up a mountain, or making it a 2/2. We're just going to make it a 2/2. There's another Junkyard Genius, eh? Well, pretty good draw. 1 land away now from, oh no, I guess I still need 2 lands to Sibling Rivalry plus Genius, because I have to spend non-Powerstone mana on the Rivalry. But yeah, I'm fine with Genius here. I am now 1 land away from a 6/4 Automaton, though, which is nice. So we're going to sit here, we're going to keep getting hit by the Strongbow. Interesting. Go for the double block on Stone Seekers. Probably means they top decked a combat trick. If they have Whirling Strike, that'll be really bad for us, but if it's Gaia's Gift, they just kill 1 Blast Runner still. So hopefully it's just a Gaia's Gift here. We definitely can't block with Genius. Alright, and if it's no combat trick, then the combat goes exceptionally well for us. Get rid of their Powerstone, and now they have nothing to use their Strongbow with. So just playing a 6/4 is big enough to block everything but their Hoarding Recluse. And obviously it does not attack into the Recluse well either because of that Death Touch. But again, we're one land away from... Oh no. Wait, 5? Yeah, we're one land away from Sibling Rivalry and sacking one of their creatures. Shoot down for my 6/4. Pretty rude. Take 4 now. Okay, now I can Sibling Rivalry and sack a thing. Also just play Rager, and their only decent attack is the Recluse. And even then I could block Recluse and sack a Powerstone. Yeah, we need to start presenting good blocks here and just locking our opponent off of attacks. Taking over the game with Scrapwork Rager card advantage. I actually don't think they have any good attacks now. I guess that's fine. Yeah, that will deal some damage to us, but we kill the Recluse here. They can get rid of our Rager from our grave so we don't draw another card off of it, but I think it's still worth getting the Death Toucher off the board. I guess I kind of have to kill Prowler. They're both hitting for just as much, and if the Death Toucher isn't blocking, then... I can still get through. And yeah, I can Sibling Rivalry the Recluse. I super need to. Yeah, we can just do that. Down to 7. Rust Goliath, 3/5 reach trample. Okay, no longer can I choose to kill the Recluse. We're gonna have to kill a Rust Goliath. Rivalry and sacrifice a Rust Goliath here. No blocks for Recluse again. I get pretty low on life here. Two mana to play around with. There's nothing I can do for 2 mana. Need to still be able to present a double block, I think. I'm so low on life. All gas, no brakes from our opponent here. Now a 4/5 Gaia's Courser. I am surprised but happy that Strongbow is still not attacking. Alright, Rager back to the board. Another Sibling Rivalry. 7 mana is exactly enough. Go for the Gaia's Courser here. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's not going to be lethal if I hit with everybody. So we need to hold all our blockers back. There's a bauble from our opponent to draw another card. Down to 2 life we go here, I'm pretty sure. Because I need to be able to hold up the mana to sack something to run or to kill Recluse. And Powerstone Fracture here. Four Powerstone. I can sack 4 times. Plus 4, there's going to be a 7 power menace. 7, 8, 9 is not lethal. The Genius does not buff itself. Probably have to actually Powerstone Fracture the Strongbow and then trade Blast Runner into Recluse. And I don't really get to attack here, or else I'm dead to removal. But I suppose if they have a removal spell and I'm put in a position where I have to chump block Recluse with Genius, I'm going to die anyway. So I need to kind of play to my outs here. And just, oops. Keep the Genius on the board, get the extra damage in, so it's more likely I can top deck into something that I can haste out for lethal. Okay. Alright, here we are on the play for game 3. Definitely keep this one. Drop a Research Desk into Rock Hunter Cindermaw, and then have a Draconic Destiny for later. Sending things into the sky, getting a bunch of damage in. Turn to Rock Hunter. Our opponent's starting off with a Swamp. What else do they have? Full grip of 8 cards, no mulligan again. Not even a full grip, an overflowing grip of cards. So Kaja's Dig Site, pass the turn, attack for 3, drop a 4/3 trample, and pass. We are threatening a lot of damage on board already. That is not even including the Draconic Destiny. We're attacking for 7 next turn if they don't do something here. Play a Forest. They are on green-black. And a Perimeter Patrol. That does give them 1 blocker. Junkyard Genius here. We trade Cindermaw for Patrol, that's fine. Still have Destiny, Junkyard Genius, some nasty stuff going around. You can just use Mishra's Desk first, because I still have the mana for Destiny or Genius, and see if this affects what I want to do. Land, Unleash Shell until the end of my next turn. On my next turn, I will have 5 mana. So maybe we just do a setup turn and we play Unleash Shell next turn? Yeah, I guess so. I should have used the black source for the research desk so that I could have Destinied if whatever I exiled made me want to play Draconic Destiny instead of Junkyard Genius. Tapped that out incorrectly, but I like just making the board state wide, getting ready to shoot something next turn, and then attack with everybody. So luckily we did not want to just drop down the Draconic Destiny. It would have been fine though, I mean, attack for 5 in the sky this turn instead of putting a Junkyard Genius down. And then have the Unleash Shell if they try to play any reach blockers. They obviously know it's coming, so they won't play anything much better than Perimeter Patrol this turn, most likely. But even then, just the threat of casting the removal spell, if it gets them to play like a weaker creature than they could, is still pretty valuable. But yeah, if they just play like an additional Perimeter Patrol or something, still shoot that. Alright, Emergency Weld to get a 1/1. Shoot the 1/1 hit for 7. fine by me. I still have Destiny and Research Desk for later. Yeah, I was going to be fine even if they didn't end up with any creatures on board of just, alright, we'll Draconic Destiny then. But yeah, getting to hit for 9 damage that turn just by shooting a 1/1 is still nice, and now Draconic Destiny is almost definitely lethal. 1, 2, 3 mana to put it on Cindermaw, make it a 5 power flyer, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 mana to buff. Yep, that is going to be 9 damage in the sky on Cindermaw. And if they blow up Cindermaw, we can put it on Rock Hunter and hit for 8 damage in the sky. Lethal either way if they don't get a reach blocker. If they just hold up instant speed removal, they could survive here, but if they just play some blockers on the ground or go for a sorcery speed removal spell, should have a quick route to victory. So perimeter patrol on the ground, but they do hold 2 mana up here, so it is possible that they have removal. And I hope they don't. Throw this on Rock Hunter. Alright. That seems like they don't. Attack both. Powered up. And there you go. I guess putting it on the Cindermaw would play around Disfigure. Yeah, I should have put it on Cindermaw. Because I don't think they have the mana to Overwhelming Remorse. Yeah, they have no creatures in grave, so the only instant speed removal spell they could have had was Disfigure. They could have had a Gaia's Gift to get a reach blocker there. I guess that line works better against Gaia's Gift because we get to keep our bigger creature on board after. Because they could Gaia's Gift and block the 8 power flyer. I guess they still die though to trample because both our creatures have trample. Or no, the Destiny doesn't give trample. So I guess even against Gaia's Gift, the 2 tricks they could have had were Gaia's Gift and Disfigure, and putting it on the 4/3 is better against both of those, so not entirely correct there. Luckily they did not have any of the instant tricks to punish us, so we will be 2-1 heading into game 4. Speaking of Disfigure, there it is. We are on the draw. We'll keep this hand, Disfigure for their early play, then a Rock Hunter as our own, then just some late game removal nonsense. Definitely need to draw some more gas, some more early game plays, but far from a mulligan. And there you go. Junkyard Genius makes the hand. Great. Now we know what we're doing turn 2, turn 3, and we have a Junkyard Genius to work with the sibling rivalry in the late game. Yeah, I'm pretty happy to disfigure that, so I'll trade with the Rock Hunter, just get the Unearth later. Double Junkyard Genius now, speed out those Powerstones. 3 mana from our opponent, fingers crossed, no Arbalest Engineers. That card is very good against our deck. No Arbalest Engineers, the Ocean Frontliner it is, which is also good against Rock Hunter. And Scrapwork Mutt. So Rock Hunter's not going to do a lot here. It's going to end up trading down pretty fiercely. Opponent's hand must be some good stuff, because they choose not to discard a card and draw a card to Scrapwork Mutt. Maybe like a Sentinel Stalwart to activate all these off-color Unearth effects. They've got a white Unearth and a black Unearth here in their green-red deck. Could also just have multiple energy refractors, chromatic star, lots of stuff like that. Epic Confrontation to kill Junkyard Genius number 1, fair enough. Fair enough. Do trade into the Mutt because I can play another 2/2 to block the 1/1. We are on the back foot here. Our opponent's on the play with a ton of unearthing threats, so we just do have to play the defensive. Sorry, Rock Hunter. Excavation Explosion for our Junkyard Genius number 2. That is actually very sad. There's only one left in the deck now. Scrapwork Rager's a pretty good draw here. Gives us another 2/2 to block the 1/1. And Blast Runner can attack into the 1/1. Five mana from our opponent and a Powerstone. They are 1 mana away from casting a 7 mana Boulder Branch, if they've got one in hand. Got an Unleashed Shell that only does 5 damage though. Boulder Branch would be a... I think it's a 6/5, actually, now that I think of it, so I probably should hold on to this. Mishra's Research Desk, another beautiful draw. Exactly the kind of thing we're looking for here. Just a bit of card draw. Triggers the Blast Runner as well. Now we have Blast Runner versus Stoneseeker. Actually kind of difficult. I don't have any more sack in my hand though, so it's probably just Stoneseeker. Yeah, no, that's pretty obvious. It's not that difficult. We just play a Stoneseeker here. Attack with Blast Runner, they double block, we kill Patrol. So we trade up our 1-drop to the 3 mana 3/3. That is not like exceptional, but it's okay with me. I could also Unleash in response to kill the Patrol and Frontliner in the same combat. Could be okay, but then I don't have removal for the Boulder Branch if they have one. And they just don't go for a block, so make it nice and simple for me. We'll just play the Stoneseeker. Actually, probably should have Research Desked first. I think I am going to Research Desk here, and we'll just have to wait on whatever we hit till next turn. Sorry, Blast Runner, no trigger for you. Oh, it's just a mountain. And I guess we do get to play it this turn. Alright, Boulder Branch. Hey, Boulder Branch, what's up? How's it going with you? That is aggressive. That's pretty okay with me. Alright, we've got a Cindermaw. Unleash is the best play, unless Sibling Rivalry is lethal, but there's no way. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, that's pretty far from lethal. Alright, they got a bunch of off-color Unearth in their grave, so we do outrace them here. They hit for 6. I guess, I mean, they hit for 6. We hit for 5, they're at 15. We have a Sibling Rivalry coming up. I don't outrace them like a ton. Hold up a double block for Patrol. It's going to be a 4/3. Yeah, I don't actually outrace them. I mean, with Cindermaw and Sibling Rivalry, I probably will, but not on board. 6 damage next turn, go to 6 life. I'm not going to have a great block because I would have to double block and lose both blockers. Let's race. Let's go to 6. They're playing empty-handed. They've top-decked a card here. They'll probably just discard to the mutt. Yoshin Dissident. It is a white card. They have to have a bunch of Sentinel Stalwarts or something in their deck. That's a green-white card. They have a white and black Unearth effect engrave. Okay. Alright, they just passed turn. On board, they only hit us for 3, but I think I still need to leave up a blocker, so I'm probably just going to hold up a Cindermaw as a blocker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Even if I Bitter Reunion and Sibling Rivalry, I don't kill them here. I don't have anything I want to discard to the Bitter Reunion. I think I'm going to attack with everybody and play a Cindermaw. I guess if they have their own Sibling Rivalry, they'll kill me. Is there any way to play around that? Not really. I mean, I can just hold it back 1/2s and 2/2s. Bitter Union plus Sibling Rivalry means I am getting pretty close to lethal. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I don't need to hit them very hard here to be threatening lethal in like a turn or two. So I think I do play around Sibling Rivalry. If they Sibling Rivalry my Cindermaw, they're attacking for 7, one of which has Trample. I just Trump block Perimeter Patrol and take 4. So I attack with these two, and we don't die to Sibling Rivalry now. They Sibling Rivalry, I Trump Patrol, and then I kill them next turn. That would be tremendously tilting if I couldn't find lethal next turn, but I think I can. How big of a bummer would it be to lose to 2 Tyrant of Courages in a row as our 2 losses? I might not be able to actually find lethal next turn if they just shoot one of my creatures here. Well, they have no blockers, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I can find exact lethal. Oh my god, let's go. Reverse tilt! This is not going to be fun for our opponent. Exact seize. Good gravy. Get revenge on the Tyrant of Courages, shall we? We are 3-1 now, heading into game number 5. Alright, game 5, Blast Runner, Rock Hunter, Destiny. That's a curve. Juggernaut for the late game. Playing against a white deck, we have drawn a Junkyard Genius, so if we hit a swamp, that will be an alternate turn 3 play that I'll probably roll with here. So playing against white, they're probably pretty aggressive. Most of the white decks are. Lots of cheap soldiers and scrapwork cohorts and stuff to really clutter up the board. So it could be a bad time for our Rock Hunter. Again, if they have a scrapwork cohort, get a 3-1 and a 1-1 on the board, and Rock Hunter is just not going to have a good time. Autonomous Assembler as a 2-2. Ooh, another Junkyard Genius. That's a little teeny bit awkward there. Let's go Destiny, the Blast Runner, so I can still attack both, offering the trade with Assembler. They take the trade. Down to 17. There's a Strong Bull from our opponents. Mono red, I guess we're dumping all our mana into Blast Runner then. We are 1 land away from Juggernaut, we're 1 swamp away from the Geniuses. Put them down to 11. Aeronaut's Wings to have a blocker for the Blast Runner. Fair enough. I will keep them alive. Astronaut's Harvester, definitely the post-combat play here. We just need to buff the Blast Runner once. Kill the Strong Bull. Okay, now we've got a Harvester on board and a Destiny we can put on it. Airlift Chaplain from our opponent. They'll have to put the wings on it to make it high enough power to kill the Destiny Harvester. But they also could just play a Paratrooper and I guess double block, but then they lose both creatures. Yeah, so they put that there. How badly do I need to hit another land here? It's pretty badly. I might Bitter Reunion. Bitter Reunion, discard Juggernaut, play whatever land I hit, and Destiny up the Harvester. And if I don't hit a land here, I am still just attacking with Harvester anyway. Yeah, it's Bitter Reunion. For sure. Hit the swamp, let's go. I hit the swamp, do I just play Genius instead? think I'd rather Whirling Strike than play Junkyard Genius, so I'll attack first and kind of pretend I didn't hit a land. Alright, pretty cool. Kill that, put them down to 7, and play our Swamp, pass turn. Scrapwork Cohort from our opponents. With the wings, that does guarantee them quite a few blockers against the Draconic Destiny. Horned Stone Seeker. This gives haste too, doesn't it? Oh my god, it does. So we play the Stone Seeker and put haste on the menace creature? Feels like the line. Flying haste on the menacer. Guaranteed 3 damage there. Don't really want to trade Harvester into a 1/1 soldier, so we're not making that attack. They are down to 4 life now. We have a 5/3 trample in the grave we can unearth. We have Junkyard Geniuses we can give the whole board menace with. There's an Aeronaut Cavalry from our opponent. Counter onto the soldier. They can now double block Stone Seeker. But Juggernaut with trample, I'm pretty sure gets there. I think we get there, like, any way we do this. We could also go Genius. Oh, I can't do Genius because they don't have double black, so I think I just Juggernaut attack all here. Yeah, they scoop them up. Okay, yeah, that was the one way to find lethal. We would need double black to play a Genius and sack something and give the board menace. So that would not have got there. But yeah, they have to double block the Stone Seeker, which means they can only single block Juggernaut, get trampled over for 3, and then Harvester gets in for another 3. Alright, I believe we are 4-1 now. It's just been a nasty Rakdos sack deck. Of course, Draconic Destiny really being the winner of that game. Just a pretty busted Magic card. We're at 1,400 gems in 3 packs, practically breaking even now. Let's see if we can get in the money heading into round number 6. Alright, here we are in game 6. Great turn 2 plays. Great late game rivalry and Juggernaut. Both of our colors. This is a solid keep. Now we even have a turn 1 Blast Runner. Playing against another red deck. Horned Stone Seeker is their turn 2 play. Excellent card, I know him well. Mutt. Discard Juggernaut or Rager here. I think Juggernaut, we're the farthest from it. Cindermaw for next turn now? We're curving out. But our opponent probably is as well. Yeah, here comes the Scrapwork Mutt. Discard a mountain, draw a card. Play mountain for turn. They are on mono red so far. They pass a turn. Hey, there's our Stone Seeker. If I play Stone Seeker now, I guarantee a Rager as my next turn play, which is nice. But I'm pretty okay with attacking with a Cindermaw on this current board. We'd get to kill both creatures, which would kill their Powerstone. More mana efficient. I don't think anybody's going to be killing each other super fast here, though, so it might be stronger to just set up mana for the long game. If I top deck a land, then Cindermaw to Rager is far, far better. I don't know, I think we're kind of fine either way. Just feel like we're under much pressure. We're just going to stare at each other for a little bit. Ichor Wellspring from our opponent to draw a card. If they ever sack it to a Strongbow later, they get to draw another card off of it. This is just Whirling Strikes for days. Alright, show me the trick here, I guess. Or we'll just trade Mutts. Trade Mutts it is. And play another Mutt, very nice. Discard a Perimeter Patrol to draw a card, so they are green-red. Okay, we did not hit our land. So now we kind of have to just place Stone Seeker here. Probably attack with Cinder Maw while they're tapped out. Might go Blast Runner into Mutt here. I think we are on the defensive a little bit. And I'm not going to have a way to sack a thing to the Blast Runner for some time anyway. Another Wellspring from our opponent. Draw another card. And there's the Forest. Excavation Explosion on the Cinder Maw. Pass the turn. 5 mana available to us. Let's play a Rager and pass. Fine by me. Perimeter Patrol coming down from our opponent. A 3/3 that gets an additional power every time they play an artifact. For the turn, play a couple 3/1s to block it. Feels like the line. And even if one of these trades into their combat trick, we get it out of the way to protect our better creatures. Bushwhack to kill the Stone Seeker. That's pretty sad. We lose the Powerstone here. Oh, this is just trading a 3/1 for a 3/3 still, so that's still just a good trade. Yeah, and getting the Whirling Strike out of their hand is an excellent trade. Pretty happy with that. I probably should have kept that for Mutt. I am going to need a lot of mana if I hit one of my 3 Junkyard Geniuses to use these sibling rivalries with, but right now I don't need it, so probably should have just used the Mutt to get rid of that land. Alright. They don't have multiple Whirling Strikes. Then we now have a very good trick they can't respond to. There's the Strongbow to go with the Wellsprings. That's going to be really bad for us. They've turned both of these into Divinations, into draw 2s. Okay, we are going to fall monumentally behind now. My Blast Runner is really not where it's at here. I'm actually just going to discard that. They have 3 mana they can use to Strongbow here, so even if they block with Strongbow, I can't kill it by using Whirling Strike, because they can make it 6 toughness. If they block with that, I can kill it. I don't think they're ever going to put Strongbow in risk, and even when they do, Strongbow again can get like 7 toughness. I think we just kill this patrol. Gotta kind of narrow down their board here. Not an excellent trade, I don't love that. But I just don't think Whirling Strike's ever going to work on Strongbow. Oh my god, we are very dead if we don't hit a Junkyard Genius. Or a Powerstone Fracture. Or Unleash Shell. Actually, Unleash Shell wouldn't do it if they don't sack anything here. Force them to sack something. If I don't block at all, I'm actually just dead, right? +4, it's 8, and they shoot us for 4. Put us to 1 life if I don't block. I just put... I wish Rager had enough power to threaten to kill that thing, to make them sacrifice 1 artifact at least here. No, we just look mega dead no matter what we do. Let's just take the damage so I have more creatures on board to go wide with Junkyard Genius potentially. Put us to 1 here. They got the combat trick. Oh, they've got mud as well. I forgot about that. Yeah, we weren't going to win that game, but I guess I should have chumped with Rager. Obviously, a punt could have survived the turn, but I don't think... We had like 2 outs. And even if we hit an out there, we'd be at 1 life. If I chumped. Yeah, I'm at 1 life and I kill that thing and they have all that Unearth in their graveyard. No. That was not particularly winnable. 4-2 heading into Game 7. Alright, here we are in Game 7. Super capable opener. We got a turn 2 Rock Hunter, we got a Research Desk. I think this is like the only time I've drawn Powerstone Fracture. But that is a very nice card that would have been super helpful in most of the other games. So, see if it does some great stuff for us this game. We actually have Fracture plus Rivalry, which is really nice late game. Blow up 2 of their creatures. Playing against a white deck here. We've seen a Plains from them. And a Forest, so green-white it is. Phalanx Vanguard is the play. I'm just going to trade here. I'm not going to use any tricks. Yep, you got it. And then we're going to play Horned Stoneseeker. Use Research Desk to see what we want to do next turn. I guess I can threaten Disfigure here. Do this during their end step. But yeah, none of these are cards I'm super likely to want to play next turn, so we'll find something else from the desk. Rager or Juggernaut? Well, I can't afford Juggernaut unless I top deck a land, so I think Rager it is. I top decked a land, RIP. I cry every time. The hard misread. Top deck 2 lands. Alright, opponent is down to 18. They just have another Phalanx Vanguard on the board now. We've got some good value going on this game. We've got that Scrapwork Rager down, and we still have the Research Desk engraved to reanimate, to unearth and spin the wheel again. See what we hit. There's an Aeronaut's Wings from our opponent. Kinda spooky, but we can still outrace it if that's the only creature they have. Yeah, we're still outracing for now. There's a Disfigure as well. If things go really bad, we can just spend 1 mana and plop the Vanguard off the board. So let's go Research Desk. See what we're doing this turn. That Draconic Destiny? Oh, it is. Well, I guess I'm doing that. Sorry, Disfigure. I'll wait for another turn for you. Flying Menace here. Put them down to 13. If my opponent hits 6 mana, that's where I would really, really want to hold up Disfigure, because then they could play the, like, 6 mana, put 4 1/1 artifact creatures on the board thing. No! Exile removal again. That's so rude. You get 2 for 1 with Draconic Destiny against exile removal. At this point, I'm like out of creatures, so I do need to Whirling Strike if they block with Mineworker. But I think I'm still attacking. We're probably disfiguring Vanguard. Yep. Don't think I'm bitter reunioning anything away. I want to keep Sibling Rivalry Powerstone Fracture for the next big threat. Guess I could bitter union the Whirling Strike away. but that still feels powerful here. Alright, wings onto the worker. We just racing a mine worker right now? We do lose this race a tiny bit, but sibling rivalry can win it. I just need to hit one more land at some point to still have sibling rivalry plus Powerstone fracture is a thing we can do, so I'm gonna bitter union away this swamp. Okay, and we do hit the next land, so we can still do rivalry fracture later. Yeah, I think I do want to just immediately get in a position where I'm winning this race, so we're just going to immediately crack this thing and hit for 5. Get them in a position to be blocking where we whirling strike the mine worker. Disenchant the Rager. Alright, that's pretty solid for us, as we can still unearth it. That being said, Blast Runner does not threaten 3 damage every turn, so they are actually winning the race here. They don't have enough sacrifice effects to keep that pressure up. But maybe Rager can change that. See what we get off the top. Ashnod's Harvester. I'm scared of dying to like multiple combat tricks here. Like a little bit. I might have to go for the coward line here, which is to fracture the mine worker to death. What are the odds they have +4/+4? Doesn't feel great. But I do like lethal them next turn, because I go Rivalry Whirling Strike for any blocker they make. We'll go for the Coward's line here. If they play any kind of massive creature, I just Rivalry it and kill them with it. And Green-White's not going to have haste. This is just super, super safe, and we're almost guaranteed to kill them in another turn or two because of Rivalry Whirling Strike. Or whatever they play. And obviously if they don't play any creatures, then we just keep hitting them for 1. Repair and recharge on the mine worker. Make it bigger with the dissident. Make it bigger again with the dissident. I'm into it. Now Rivalry and Whirling Strike kills them, right? Make it a 6 power trampler? Yeah, it certainly does. Alright, and that's going to be game there. And actually, Dissident plus Repair and Recharge. Would that have killed us if I didn't kill their mine worker? It was sitting at 3 power. They needed to put 4 plus encounters? No, it would have been they get Dissident on the board and they get, yeah, they get the Powerstone from Repair, and they wouldn't have been able to pick up any artifacts because there wouldn't have been any grave. Okay. So we wouldn't have died if I didn't fracture, but I'm still happy with that line because, again, as we saw there, we just had a million ways to get lethal if we just make sure they have an empty board there so they can't kill us, because there's no haste in green or white, so we just play it nice and safe. All those different ways to find lethal. We are now 5-2 in the money for the final Brothers War Premier Draft. Pretty happy with that, but we'll see where it goes from here as we head into round 8. Here we are in round 8. We have Blast Runner into Stoneseeker into Bitter Reunion, or Automaton. Actually, either of those is a really good curve. Pretty snap-keepy here. We've got both our colors as well. Opponent is on the play, so they will be playing stuff first, and that's a Coastal Bulwark to stop our hopes and dreams. Play a Stoneseeker here, so we have the Mana Rock to play our artifact stuff, even if I don't hit more lands yet. Another coastal bulwark? Well, rough. Certainly rough. We might just play a really long game here and try to get a super wide board state and then just Junkyard Genius one time later. Make a Blast Runner 3/2 Menace, but it just trades 1/1 into a Bulwark. I guess like the alternative is to start trading our 3/2s into Bulwarks. There's only 2 of them, so we attack with these 2 and then get them out of the way. Start playing more stuff. That seems fine as well. Still have Genius Rivalry later. Cindermaw for now. Yeah, trying to get the Bulwarks off the board before I play a 4/3 Trample seems decent. And if they have combat tricks to protect the Bulwark, we'll have to fight through those at some point as well. Might as well fight with our cheaper, more expendable creatures here. We're gonna have to wait a very, very long time if the plan is to get a super wide board in Genius. We're gonna want a lot of mana so we can Rivalry Genius, stuff like that. Alright, traded our 1 mana card for their Bulwark and got a few points of damage in. Now a Springleaf Drum so they can hit off-color splashes with their Combat Courier while still holding up Bulwark as a blocker. But that does mean 6 of their cards they've played so far are mana, so if they don't have any card draw coming up, I guess they have Courier to cycle through. Yeah, they're fine. So if they don't have like some card draw coming up, then they could maybe just run out of stuff to do because they've hit six pieces of mana already. Why is this a 5/3? Oh, because it's a 3/3 Bulwark with +2/+0 because... Alright, the Metamorph makes it a 3/3 at face value and then +2 because the island. That is very cute. Whirling Strike is nice here, but doesn't actually do anything yet. But yeah, trade Automaton for this smaller Bulwark, I guess, and they're just blocking for days right now. Keep trading these Bulwarks. Getting them out of the way. Double block, let me kill the big one. Okay, I'll kill the big one then. They're blue-red. They probably don't have a ton of ways to bring a Metamorph back from grave. Here's a Cindermaw. Third Path Iconoclast. That is a must-kill card, giving them 1/1 soldiers whenever they cast spells. Although if they don't have removal, now we can just try to Draconic Destiny for the kill. Tempting, tempting, tempting. Cindermaw kills them faster, but Stoneseeker has Menace. Cindermaw, I can put it in the sky, hit for 6 this turn, putting them to 11. Next turn I hit for 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. Kills them in 3 attacks. Stoneseeker hits them for 4 this turn, putting them to 13, then hits them for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 twice. I guess they both kill in 2 attacks. I'll try to Destiny the Stoneseeker then. Hope that they don't have an instant in hand, they just have Bulwark and Courier on board. Yeah, because they're blue-red here, so they could easily have some flyers, and this plays better against flyers. Now they need specifically removal to kill Stoneseeker, because if they don't, if they just play a flyer to block, they're going to need 2 flyers to block it well. And Cindermaw can still attack decently on the ground with a Whirling Strike as backup. Whereas the Stoneseeker can't really. Yeah, so they're just digging here. Use that Combat Courier to draw some cards, the Bulwark to surveil. There's another Third Path Iconoclast, really cluttering up the ground for sure. And a Curate to dig again. Unless they block with literally everybody, Cindermaw is still a decent attack, I think. Because we can first strike away 6 toughness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, even if they block with their whole board, Cindermaw is going to survive. Maybe not after a bauble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, if they block with everyone, Cindermaw can kill a majority of their board. And then they'll keep 3 1/1s. So, pretty certain that means Cindermaw is still attacking here. They block with 3 toughness. And that is it. Maybe try to outrace us, hitting us back here. So if I Whirling Strike here, I still kill them in 2 attacks, right? Because I'm trampling over for 1. With Whirling Strike, I trample over for 3 and keep Cindermaw on board. I trample over for 3 and Stoneseeker hits them for 6. If they still need to find interaction for Stoneseeker. If they can kill this Stoneseeker, we're probably going to lose, though. But that was going to happen anyway, because even if I have a Cindermaw to block, like, their board state's going to be so wide, they can still just attack with everybody and get around it. They surveil with Bulwark here. With Springleaf Drum and the island. Yep. Alright, into the graveyard. Got nothing I can do with this mana, because I would need 3 natural lands on tap to play Genius, so we just buff the Stoneseeker. Hit for 9 damage here. They have 1 shot. 1 last draw step. And we know they surveilled into the grave, so they didn't hit their out yet. Do they find the out? They do draw 2 cards here because Mishra's Bauble. They can draw another from Combat Courier. They still don't find an out, so Combat Courier it is. Do they hit the removal? Keeping all those blockers on ground so they don't take any Cindermaw damage. Now, even if they find removal for Stoneseeker, Unleash Shell could get them killed. And they just don't find removal. Good lord. That was a pretty lucky one for us. They dug very far, seeking out that removal. But it's going to be a victory for us. We're now 6-2, and that will shoot us up into Mythic rank on pretty much the last day of the January competitive seasons. That's pretty cool. A Mythic 583, that's not bad. Not bad, we'll take it. 6-2 here, heading into the final boss, win or lose. The final game of Magic for today. Alright, here we are with a good curve. Blast Runner into Reunion, discarding Juggernaut into Genius turn 3. That's what it's all about right here. Love to see it on the play. I'd only be happier if I had one of my 2-mana 3/1s. Then I would be monstrously happy. Yeah, we race the frontliner here. See what we get off the Bitter Reunion. Land, and there's our 2-drop creature. Sad to see it. Turn 3, but still will be a good play later. Phalanx Vanguard from our opponents. Good blocker for the Blast Runner. Gonna be a good attacker as well. Play Rock Hunter, Bitter Unit, hit for 6 here. Save Genius for later. Pretty sure I just play Genius now, though, get my Powerstone out of the way. But then we're not attacking or blocking at all. I guess I can block Frontliner. I don't know, I feel like I have no good attacks or blocks if I just play Genius here, so... I'm actually gonna go Rock Hunter Haste. I don't actually have a good use for the Powerstone from Genius yet. We're not going to use its ability for a little while as well. Cash in the Bitter Union for some good damage here. No blocks it is. After a little bit of think tank in there. Yoshin Medic is the turn 3 play, a 1/4 lifelink, and they slam in for 4 damage. Down to 15. 1/4 lifelink is going to be super hard to race with. Probably playing Junkyard Genius here and passing. Yeah, we can't even get through that thing. Just eats our Rock Hunter up. Yeah, now we're dropping the Genius. Yoshin Medic, pretty good in this matchup. The chunky blocker with lifelink slow us down a lot. Send in the Vanguard. The trade here, it's pretty reasonable. Board is less wide for Genius, but that's okay. We still have Genius Rivalry as a potential play. We hit a bunch of lands later. One mana away from Sibling Rivalry. Set up some Blast Runners and pass. Or 1 mana away from Unleash Shell, I should say, to get the lifelinker off the board and shoot them for 2. Now we're getting a very wide board state for Genius's Menace to threaten a ton of damage. I guess if I kept Rock Hunter on board, we might be near lethal now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 menacing damage. They could double block 1 though. Ew. Gix's Command. And the Medic's a 3/6 now? Yikes. That might just seal the deal for us here. Unleash Shell is not big enough to kill it anymore. I have to draw removal to kill this 3/6. 3/6? Yeah, Gix's Command is pretty brutal. What can we do? Not a lot. Not a lot. They're gaining 3 every turn anyway. Guess might as well Juggernaut while I have the mana. They gain 4 next turn because they bring the Frontliner back. Here are the Dunes is a nasty card. This is a very good deck from our opponent. And we are just out of it here. Would have been a pretty interesting, pretty close competition if they didn't have a Gix's Command. Because I think their deck is very good otherwise. But Gix's Command is just, yeah, we're just going to get steamrolled here. Unfortunate ending. But very well played from our opponents today. Some very good decks all around, and 6-3 is not bad at all, especially hitting Mythic right at the end of the season. That's kind of nice. So we'll take it. 6-3 from our Black-Red Sack deck. Overall, in terms of how it did in gameplay, I don't really have any complaints at all. I think the deck was as close to perfect as we could probably get in this draft pod. We could have had some more Overwhelming Remorses, but I'm very happy with how the cards that we took over Remorse played, like Mishra's Research Desk and Giant Cindermaw. Yeah, I mean, this deck was great. It played super great. I don't know if I played it perfectly for sure, but it did some great nasty stuff, so I'm really happy with how we drafted today. Just doesn't quite get there in the end. Just some big stuff from our opponents. A very big Pendragon Strong Bull in one of those games. We didn't draw any removal for it. and then the other two were. The first loss was really close. We would have died to almost anything off the top. It wasn't really the big bomb rare dragon's fault. We kind of would have died if they hit anything solid off the top. It was like we were playing on a razor's wire there. Yeah, then the second game we lose to the big suited up Pendragon Strongbow. We just didn't have any removal for it. That'll definitely happen. Third game though, pretty much like we would have had an interesting game if it weren't for Gix's command, but Gix's command solidly shoves the board state very far in our opponent's favor there. But again, they had a very good deck, and it would not have been like a guaranteed win if they didn't have Gix's command. It would have been a close back and forth game there. So overall, some pretty great games of Magic today. Pretty good stuff from the deck. I don't think any of the losses today were the deck's fault or anything. I think it's some solid stuff. Didn't quite get all the way there in the end, but still got real close and shot up into Mythic, got some extra gems out of the event. More than happy with that. Well, that is going to end today's video. If you want to see some more videos like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send you some more in your recommended feeds. If you'd like to hang out with me live, you can check the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support me directly, you can check out the Patreon in the link in the description below. Other than that, tomorrow we have Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Draft. We've got Phyrexia All Will Be One, the early access event very shortly after that. So we'll be doing a set review of the set and all that good stuff. Very excited for the new draft format that's right around the corner. So great stuff on the horizon. But for now, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon for some more Magic Arena.